Welcome to this edition of News Today, a series in which we discuss and briefly analyze the important news of the day. Let's have a look at today's main headlines. Ministry of Home Affairs constitutes an inquiry committee to probe the security breach in the Lok Sabha. In the United States, the House of Representatives voted to formally open an impeachment inquiry into the president. ISRO's chairman states that ISRO will indigenously develop the environmental control and life support system for Gaganyaan mission. The Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence Summit adopts the New Delhi Declaration. An oil spill occurred in the Ennore region of Chennai after cyclone Michong induced floods. WHO says that urgent action is needed to protect children and prevent the uptake of e-cigarette. Starting with today's first news, the Ministry of Home Affairs constituted an inquiry committee to probe the security breach in the Lok Sabha. On the 22nd anniversary of the 2001 Parliament attacks, the accused entered the Lok Sabha and released color gas canisters emitting yellow smoke. The accused have been booked under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act by the Delhi Police. Now let's take a look at how the parliamentary security system currently works. If we talk about overall security oversight and coordination, the Parliamentary Security Service of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha is responsible for maintaining security, and they are assisted by various security and paramilitary agencies. Carrying of items such as firearms, ammunition, banners and placards in the House complex is prohibited. Further, a joint command and control center has been established for improved coordination. Now let's take a look at the security infrastructure of the Parliament. A special unit of Delhi Police, Central Reserve Police Force or CRPF, Central Industrial Security Force or CISF, and the Fire Service are involved in maintaining security in the Parliament. Moreover, the Parliament building is equipped with advanced facial artificial intelligence mechanisms. Lastly, let's understand how access to the Parliament is regulated. Rules of procedure and conduct of business in Lok Sabha deals with admission, withdrawal and removal of strangers. It specifies that Speaker, whenever thinks fit, may order the withdrawal of strangers from any part of the House. Also, any visitors to Parliament need security clearance from parliamentarians, making managing access to the Parliament their responsibility.
In the United States, the House of Representatives voted to formally open an impeachment inquiry into the president. In this context, let's compare the provisions related to impeachment in the United States and in India. As regards the applicability, in the US, it is applicable to the offices of President and the Vice President. It is also applicable to all the civil officers of the federal government, while in India, it is only applicable to the President, as mentioned in Article 61 of the Indian Constitution. The grounds of impeachment in the United States include treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. In India, the only ground is the violation of the Constitution. The impeachment process in the United States begins with the charges which can be pressed by any member of the House of Representatives, following which voting based on simple majority of the House of Representatives is done. The presiding officer for trials is the Chief Justice of the United States. In India, a resolution can be initiated in either house of the Parliament, signed by 1/4 of the members of the House. Such a resolution needs to be passed by not less than 2/3 of the total membership of each house. The presiding officers of the respective houses serve as the presiding officers for this case. Coming to the consequences of impeachment. Well, in the United States, impeachment serves as an indictment, not as removal. After impeachment, the Senate or the upper house is convened like a court. President can only be removed if at least 2/3 of Senate votes for it after the hearings. Andrew Johnson, Bill Clinton, and Donald Trump were the 3 presidents of the United States who were impeached, but none of them were removed. In India, impeachment results in the removal of the president from office. No president has been impeached so far.
Moving on, ISRO's chairman has stated that ISRO will indigenously develop the environmental control and life support system for Gaganyaan mission. First, let's take a brief look at the Gaganyaan mission. The mission envisions demonstration of human spaceflight capability to low Earth orbit. It aims to launch a crew of 3 members to an orbit of 400 kilometers for 3 days and bringing them back safely to Earth. LVM-3 or Geosynchronous Satellite Launch Vehicle Mark III is identified as its launch vehicle, which consists of 3 stages: a solid stage, a liquid stage, and a cryogenic stage. Coming back to the news, the Environmental Control and Life Support System is a subsystem of a crewed space vehicle which provides all necessary conditions to make life in space possible. The tasks of the system primarily include atmosphere management, water management, food supply, and waste management. It consists of 3 key components. First is the water recovery system, which provides clean water by reclaiming wastewater, cabin humidity condensate, and water from the hydration system inside crew members' extravehicular activity suits. Next is the air revitalization system, which is dedicated to cleaning circulating cabin air. Lastly, we have the oxygen generation system, which consists of oxygen generation assembly and carbon dioxide reduction assembly. Now the question is, what is the significance of building the environmental control and life support system indigenously? The move will not only facilitate India's Gaganyaan mission, but also reduce dependence on foreign space agencies for manned missions. Further, it will promote knowledge and design capability development for manned missions. It is also expected to generate employment and lead to human resource development in advanced science and research and development activities.
Recently, the Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence or GPAI Summit adopted the New Delhi Declaration. GPAI has unanimously adopted New Delhi Declaration to mitigate risks like unemployment and lack of transparency arising from development and deployment of artificial intelligence systems. Earlier, the Bletchley Declaration signed at the UK AI Safety Summit focused on AI-related safety risks. Now let's go through the key highlights of New Delhi Declaration. The declaration supports AI innovation in agriculture sector as a new thematic priority, adding to previous GPAI themes including healthcare, climate action, and building a resilient society. It focuses on collaboration, inclusion, and creating a governance framework on AI. It recommends the global framework for use of AI be rooted in democratic values and human rights, personal data protection, promoting responsible, sustainable, and human-centered use of AI. It promotes equitable access to critical resources for AI innovation, including computing and high-quality diverse datasets. It fosters inclusivity so that countries outside of the GPAI's purview, especially those in Global South, can also reap AI benefits. Coming to GPAI, it was established in June 2020 with 15 member countries, including India. It is a multi-stakeholder initiative of global experts bridging AI theory and practice. It is currently an alliance of 29 members, and India is the lead chair of GPAI in 2024.
Moving on, an oil spill occurred in the Ennore region of Chennai after cyclone Michaung induced floods. As per the Indian Coast Guard, an oil spill originating from the Chennai Petroleum Corporation Limited refinery has spread across 20 square kilometers into the sea. An oil spill is the release of a liquid petroleum hydrocarbon into the environment, especially marine areas. It can happen due to a number of reasons such as breaking down of equipment due to human errors, deliberate acts by illegal dumping, or due to natural disasters like hurricanes. So what are the impacts of such oil spills? Oil spills destroy the insulating ability of fur on mammals and impact water repelling qualities of a bird's feathers. It also impacts the immune system and reproduction of dolphins and whales by oil inhalation. Moreover, it can lead to health problems in exposed humans like heart damage, immune system effects, headaches due to strong odor, and skin irritation. Further, oil spills obstruct the passage of sunlight into the sea, thereby destroying photosynthesizing phytoplankton. It also impacts mangrove forests as they can no longer shield coastlines. So what can be done to tackle the issue of oil spills? Some bioremediation technologies have been developed in India for oil spills. For example, the oil zapper developed by Terry is an eco-friendly technique of using bacteria to get rid of oil sludges and oil spill. The Olivorus S was jointly developed by Terry and Indian Oil Corporation Limited. It has an additional bacterial strain that makes it more effective against sludge and crude oil with high sulfur content. Now let's take a look at some steps taken for preventing oil spills. In India, the National Oil Spill Disaster Contingency Plan was created by the Indian Coast Guard. Also, the Merchant Shipping Act of 1958 has the provision of prevention and containment of pollution of sea by oil. At the global level, there exists the International Convention for Safety of Life at Sea and the International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution of Marine Environment from Ships. India is a party to both conventions.
Recently, the WHO has said that urgent action is needed to protect children and prevent the uptake of e-cigarettes. Before we proceed further, let us understand the working of e-cigarettes. E-cigarettes heat a liquid to create aerosols that are inhaled by the users. These e-liquids may or may not have nicotine, but they do not contain tobacco. However, they typically contain additives, flavors, and chemicals that can be toxic. E-cigarettes are also known as vape pens, vapes, electronic nicotine delivery systems or ENDS, and electronic non-nicotine delivery systems or ENNDS. According to the WHO, e-cigarettes target children through social media and influencers. Children 13 to 15 years old are using e-cigarettes at rates higher than adults. Rates of e-cigarette use among 16 to 19-year-olds has doubled between 2017 and 2022. Let's go through the other important impacts of e-cigarettes. E-cigarettes are not shown to be effective for quitting tobacco use at the population level. E-cigarettes with nicotine are highly addictive. They generate toxic substances that cause cancer and increase the risk of heart and lung disorders. Lastly, they negatively affect the fetal development and brain development, which can lead to learning disorders. Regarding the regulation of e-cigarettes in India, Prohibition of Electronic Cigarette Act 2019 prohibits the production, manufacture, import, export, transport, sale, distribution, storage, and advertisement of e-cigarettes. The personality in the news for today is Baba Raghav Das. Recently, the birth anniversary of Baba Raghav Das, popularly known as Purvanchal Gandhi, was observed. Baba Raghav Das was born at Pune, Maharashtra and made Yogiraj Anant Mahaprabhu his guru. Gandhiji, during his visit to Gorakhpur in 1921, called him Baba. Let's go through his contributions. He accompanied Gandhiji during the 1930 Dandi March. He took part in Vinoba Bhave's Bhudan movement in 1951. He started leprosy homes and degree college in Deoria, Uttar Pradesh. He also served as a member of the Legislative Assembly in 1948. He exhibited the values of empathy, compassion, and patriotism.
As we conclude today's main news, let's go through some quick updates. Delhi High Court rejected a public interest litigation to deregister political parties registered with names having religious, caste, ethnic, and linguistic connotations. Political parties in India are registered with Election Commission of India under Section 29A of Representation of People Act of 1951. However, the Act does not provide any mechanism to deregister political parties. In a recent judgment, Supreme Court held that Article 370 was a feature of asymmetric federalism and not sovereignty. Asymmetric federalism is understood to mean federalism based on unequal powers and relationships in political, administrative, and fiscal arrangement spheres between the units constituting a federation. 13 members of Parliament of Lok Sabha have been suspended for their unruly behavior. Rules 373, 374 and 374A of Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business in Lok Sabha deals with the suspension of members of Parliament. Targeting of Gaza's hospitals, bakeries and schools by Israel is being considered as herbicide by several activists. Herbicide is Latin for city killing and refers to an act of ritualized, premeditated violence on built infrastructures. Union Ministry of Commerce and Industry submitted a list of items to the Ministry of Finance to address inverted duties. Inverted duties refer to a tax structure where taxation on imports of inputs is at higher rates than finished products. Central Motor Vehicle Rules Technical Standing Committee and Automotive Industry Standards Committee have taken up the work to formulate a standard on moving off information systems for vehicles. These systems detect and inform the driver of the presence of pedestrians and cyclists in close proximity forward blind spot of the vehicle. Hemophilia and Health Collective of North proposed new guidelines for treatment of persons with hemophilia in India. Hemophilia is a bleeding disorder in which the blood does not clot properly. It is usually inherited with an X-linked recessive inheritance pattern. Human activities on the moon have propelled the moon into the lunar Anthropocene, according to a University of Kansas study. Lunar Anthropocene parallels Earth's Anthropocene, making a significant human impact on planetary systems. Before we go, it's time to put your knowledge to the test in today's segment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of News Today. To get the answers to today's quiz and to download the PDF of News Today, make sure to check out the links in the description below.